Welcome back to Ask the Attorney. I'm Amy Rao-Mohan along with Kevin Kennedy from the Kennedy Law Firm in Clarksville. And we've already answered several questions. Please keep them coming at 737+. We're going to get to Lee here with a question. Hi, Lee.
Hi, thank you for taking my call. I'm wondering if Mr. Kennedy could answer a Social Security question in regards to, does a dire letter of need based on an eviction fixing to come really help move your court case up?
Well, that's a good question, and again, that's going to be left up for interpretation with your Social Security hearing officer. As a general rule, you know, it takes you a while to get your hearing set. So you can certainly advance that claim, see if you get any, but it's been my experience that, you know, those are a lengthy process and they're going to give you a date when they want to give you a date. It's very much, we had a case and the guy says, well, I've just got orders to go to Iraq. I need my court date early. Well, we've had this court date for almost 6 or 7 months. You can't just call up and say we need to move the court date within a month because the lawyers can't do it, the calendars are full. So that creates a problem for everyone. But I certainly always say, file your motion, see what you can get done.
And your firm does Social Security work,
yes, we
right?
do.
And we'll put up Kevin's information as well as mine after the show, so look out for that with his phone number, website, and address as well. We've got a question here from Michael. Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Hello.
How can we help you, Michael?
Yes.
What's your question today?
I got a question for Mr. Kennedy. I was employed by a large firm in Nashville. We did some work in Nashville on government projects. They were supposed to pay us a stimulus package, and we never got paid it. I'm wondering how to go about recovering that.
Okay, the first thing I would do is probably call the Tennessee Department of Labor. You can file a complaint with them and say, you know, I work for this company in Nashville. This was what was represented to us. We never received our payment, whether it was supposed to be through by the hour. And if there are other issues, usually if you've got a company that won't pay, you've got a multitude of issues. But that's where I would start. All you can do is go to your boss and say, what about our money? He said, well, the check's in the mail. We haven't got, and time goes by and you know you're just being conned. Then put the Tennessee Department of Labor on them.
All right. We've got Casey here. Hi, Casey. Casey, can you hear us? Oh, JC?
Yes.
Yes, sorry about that.
I was going to ask the lawyers, like when you're in a car wreck and you get hurt real bad now, there's just a certain amount of money that you can get.
Okay.
The insurance company.
In the law in Tennessee, if you go to court, there's no limit on the judgment that you could receive. Where there is a limit is if the people that you're suing has a coverage of $25,000, that insurance company, whether it's State Farm, Farm Bureau, Geico, or whoever, they're going to say, okay, you got a judgment for $150,000, but we're only going to pay $25,000. You have to get the rest from the defendant himself. So they'll pay the $25,000. You've got a judgment, then you can try to collect the excess.
And we've talked about today how difficult sometimes it can be to collect a judgment.
It's really difficult to collect some judgments, yes.
All right, we've got Larry here on line 4. Hi, Larry.
Yes, I got a couple of questions for Mr. Kennedy there.
All righty.
He was talking about asset subpoena a few minutes ago.
Yes.
Judgment with a lien.
Yes.
Against the property. How long is that lien good for? And what if the guy doesn't show up for an asset subpoena? What happens then?
Okay, there's a couple of different liens. Some of them are 7 years, some of them are 10 years. You can renew those. You have to file a little motion and have those judgments renewed. And his second question, Amy, do you...
about an asset subpoena, how do you get someone to respond? I think I didn't hear the
yes,
very end
I
of it.
remember now. If they don't show up to court, yes, then you can tell the judge, and the judge has the ability to show cause them and bring them into court. So, yeah, that's one of the few things that the civil courts can do. So, and let me say this. If you are served, respond.
You don't want to be held in contempt.
You don't want to be held in contempt because they can just unreasonably... I saw... a situation where a guy was placed under a $10,000 cash bond in a civil contempt. And you say, well, golly, I just forgot about it. Well, you won't forget about it when they pick you up and you're waiting in court, and then they bring you in front of the judge, and he said, well, why weren't you here? well, Judge, I've got this excuse and that excuse, but, you know, that's what you're facing.
All right. And I think we've got, Ron, did you have another question?
Well, Judge, I haven't been there yet.
Okay, Ron's new. Go ahead.
All right. I'm sorry, Ron. I got you confused with Larry. I apologize. Good evening to you. Do you have a question for us?
Yes, I do. I would like to know what they're going to do about these companies that come in and they...
And Ron, I'm going to ask you just to turn your volume down on your TV set because we can sort of hear an echo, and then go ahead and just ask your question into the phone.
Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm doing that.
Okay.
Okay, these companies come in and they get people to come work for them to clean the buildings, and they only have a limited amount of people, like 5 or 6 to clean a big building.
Okay.
And then they wouldn't hurry you because you have to go, you know, do fast.
Yes.
And then they lay you off because you're not fast enough.
Yes.
And I called the, the ethics committee. I never heard anything from them.
Right.
Because I think that they're breaking the law, because there's laws out there that says that you have to have a certain amount of people full time. Is that right?
Well, basically in Tennessee, we have an employment at will state, meaning I can go to work for Amy and I have a right to quit, and Amy has the right to let me go anytime. So that's one of the first premises that we've got to deal with. Now, when you're getting into government contracts, there could bring in a whole host of other laws that these companies have to follow. And there could be OSHA violations, equal employment opportunity violations. There's a lot of different federal laws. And if it was discrimination, there's a host of things that you'd have to entertain. So we do recognize if these companies are abusing the workers, again, go to the Department of Labor, file your complaint. We cannot allow people to abuse other people.
All right. Let's take one more question here from Billy. Hi, Billy.
Yes.
How can we help you today?
The question I have is say you've got a tenant living in your rental property, and maybe you get a judgment through the court system for whatever you're suing them for.
Okay.
And they don't really have anything, and even though you got a judgment against them, you can't collect anything from them. And why doesn't the state pay you whatever your judgment is against them, and then the state go after them with possibly jail time if they don't pay you?
Well,
I think that's the hardest thing about collecting a judgment is someone who can't pay. From my experience.
And you know, they used to have a pauper's prison in England, and then the Americans came in and said, we don't think that we should ever jail anybody because they don't pay. Again, there's a host of laws that if you could prove theft by deception, if you could prove something like that, you might get a criminal warrant against them. One of the things I've learned, you know, if you put someone in jail and they have to pay restitution, they're going to find a way to get that restitution to get out of jail. And you make an excellent point, but where it should start, you should go to your state representative and propose some legislation. And, you know, it would be wonderful if we had a fund with the state that when we legitimately had a judgment and they didn't pay, some of these fines and court costs that come through our system should go to protect the landlord. It's a great point. I hadn't thought about it, but I'd sure love to see somebody try to support legislation.
Well, maybe Billy will be the first one.
Good, real good. Remember, when men's ideas and values change, the law changes. And remember, we really all have a sense of what is right and what is fair. Your law, it was certainly sensible, and it's a right. So I kind of like what you had to say.
And I know that's something that's frustrating to plaintiffs all the time. They get a judgment and then they can't collect.
Well, I've been in the rental business 38 years. And, you know, we've had to bring those lawsuits, and the people didn't have anything. So even a very skilled lawyer sometimes still comes up with nothing. Remember, they can file bankruptcy, and what are you getting? Nothing.
All right, we're going to take a quick break.